Prior to starting university as an academic, I had several jobs as a public servant, a union official. Plus, I was variously employed in various jobs while I was studying. I was a cleaner, a bar attendant, a researcher, tax consultant, and a swimming instructor. You may be surprised that I was a tax consultant, but you will not be surprised that I wasn't one for very long. The world of work has been an abiding interest for me, and I've had my fair share of labour market experiences as a result. Since my undergraduate degree at Griffith University, I have been interested in the study of work, not just the doing of the work, and particularly in relation to who does what and where in the labour market, and especially under what conditions. And that took me into industrial relations, and it took me into the study of gender in the workplace. But it's not just about gender in the workplace that got me interested, it was the intersection of the public and private spheres, and what that meant for our social condition, and what that meant for what we valued in society. When I started my career as a lecturer at Griffith University, it seemed a similar situation to the CEO who reported at the company AGM. Last year, unfortunately, we were at the edge of the precipice. This year, I am pleased to report we're about to take a great leap forward. In my first academic job, I was appointed to coordinate the large 600-strong academic first year, the foundation program, and finish my PhD at the same time. So that caused an enormous great leap forward for me. But it started my journey in academia, and it's been a never-ending source of surprise to me about where you might end up when you start a journey in academia. Professor Myrna Mandel has cited some of the interesting arenas that I've managed to get myself into and make a contribution to as a university academic. And these opportunities have opened the world of ideas to me, and also show me ways of learning in our global community. More locally, I'm working in areas that first seemed quite disparate, such as medical travel, music industry development, seafood festival, and local transport. But all of these projects have at their core the notion of working together to improve business performance and to foster regional development. And the music industry project, these are fabulous projects, by the way. I love being in a school of tourism. It's just fantastic. The music industry project is built on the creation of a live music hub in Coolangatta. Medical travel looks to link air transport, healthcare and lifestyle destination, and what a nice destination we have here, and what it might deliver to the Gold Coast region. And the Seafood Festival brings together local firms into a business cluster with a focus on the seafood industry and water-based leisure activities. These are all ways of using the power of networks to improve business performance. So my talk here tonight will outline the different ways of thinking about business connections and hopefully make the case for the possibilities brought by engaging in various degrees of collective action as opposed to purely competitive stance of going it alone. The approach also works on a relational rather than a legalistic, contractual or arm's length basis. The guiding principle for my research is to use my academic expertise to solve industry problems. I started this journey on the way back as an undergraduate, looking to understand why, if women comprise half of the workforce, were we concentrated in only a few jobs, few sectors of the labour market, and at the lower ranks of organisations. The so-called pink-collar ghetto of women in hairdressing and service industries. I'm still puzzling over the slow process of women in the workforce, but I've made some inroads into this large question by undertaking studies of genders and careers in the public sector, enterprise bargaining and gender outcomes, studies into the institutions and industrial relations, looking at women in technology and women's access to technology, women on boards, and more recently, work-life balance. The results of the research show that, of course, there are multiplex reasons for this differential employment outcome between the genders. And plus two, not all men are able to obtain the benefits of the labour market outcomes that others do. So, notable though, among the reasons for disparity are the ways in which we organise work and the associated technology, the workplace culture, how our co-workers regard alternative workplace arrangements, the way that workplace is managed and manages working hours into the social arena include family and community, and these are in urgent need of addressing. I've recently co-written a piece about bringing back the weekend by compressing long working hours into 5-day working weeks instead of spreading work over 6 or 7 days, to lessen the difficulties in matching leisure times with families and among friends, social others we call them, and lessen the difficulties when working long hours. I was asked to discuss the findings on radio because the presenters of the radio show looked out the window, saw that it was sunny and went, "Why are we here? We should be at leisure." And so this was interesting to me because of the idea of the compressed working week. And I suggested that, of course, we could compress our working week not just from 6 days to 5 and have a weekend, but from 5 days to 4. Because what I found in my research on the public sector was that people banked their hours and they banked them and banked them and banked them until they lost them. So flexi time was not that flexible. It was flexible for bosses to be able to have access to their workers for very long periods of time. So I felt that the compressed working week was definitely an undersold item on the enterprise bargaining agenda. Over the course of my academic career, I focused on developing team projects and establishing international linkages. Our international colleagues are often amazed that we would travel between 20 and 30 hours to attend a conference or an international meeting. But it is one of the best ways to be able to bring ourselves, our universities and our research to the attention of the global academic community. However, my international colleagues seem to think it's much farther for them to travel to us. The exchange of ideas from all parts of the globe and having access to the latest leading-edge research is vital to ensuring that our research is world-class and that we can meet international benchmarks for high-quality research. The ability to work in cross-disciplinary teams to develop innovative solutions is an important consideration for me in undertaking research. Above all, I have a deep commitment to collaborative research, as it's a way of bringing together many different perspectives and talents to solve complex problems, the so-called wicked issues that resist single-dimension solutions. In this regard, I would very much like to pay tribute to my friend and colleague, Associate Professor Robin Keast from QUT. Robin started out as a PhD student when our team was awarded a 3-year ARC Australian Research Council Industry Linkage Grant in 2000. And we were going to study central agency coordination of service delivery in the public service. Little did we know that this fairly inauspicious and typical for academics boring title would lead us on the path of high adventure. Although when we were luring Robin away from her senior management position in the public sector